I was called into the living room like a child being summoned for punishment, my hand still damp from washing lentils, the smell of soap clinging to my skin. They said it was a family discussion. Those words used to mean warmth. That day, they meant judgment. The moment I stepped in, my feet slowed. The chairs were not random. They were angled toward me, forming a half circle like a courtroom. Phones lay face down on laps, screens dark but ready. The curtains were half drawn, letting in just enough light to expose me, not enough to comfort me. It felt staged, rehearsed, like everyone knew their lines except me. My eldest son cleared his throat. That sound alone made my stomach tighten. He held papers in his hand. My papers. Documents I had signed over years with trust, now folded sharply like weapons. He didn't look at me when he started reading. He read like he was announcing train delays, not dismantling his mother's life. Before I could speak, my daughter-in-law leaned forward. Her voice cut through the room, smooth and confident. She listed everything I had never done, never supported them, never contributed, never sacrificed. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. It was practiced, polished, cruel. Every sentence erased a year of my life. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed my cousin holding her phone slightly tilted, recording. When I asked why, she said calmly, "Just for records." The small red light blinked. My chest tightened. My heart began to race like it was trying to escape before the rest of me was torn apart. They accused me of manipulating the family, of hiding money meant for my grandchildren I had fed with my own hands, grandchildren whose school uniforms I stitched late at night. They spoke as if I were a stranger who had invaded their home, not the woman who built it. Then came the sentence that changed everything. "You'll need to move out temporarily." Temporarily. The word sounded soft, harmless, but it landed on me like a final verdict. I asked quietly, "Where will I go?" Someone laughed, not loudly, just a small laugh, enough to slice deeper than shouting ever could. As the argument continued, my son stood up and removed my wedding photograph from the wall, right there, in the middle of it, as if my marriage, my history, my existence could be lifted off a nail and erased to make their story cleaner. A document was pushed toward me. My eyes burned. The words swam. I could barely read through my tears. They told me it was a formality. My hand shook as I signed my name. It felt like confessing to a crime I never committed. The worst moment came quietly. My granddaughter looked at me with confused eyes and asked, "Dottie, why are you being so difficult?" The words weren't hers. They were borrowed, memorized. That was when something inside me broke without making a sound. I walked out barefoot. The floor was cold. I didn't go back for my slippers. My dignity trailed behind me like a dropped shawl. No one bent to pick it up. That night, memories flooded me without mercy. I remembered entering that house as a bride, young and hopeful, carrying nothing but recipes and dreams of belonging. I remembered waking before sunrise for decades, cooking, cleaning, paying debts quietly so my family could sleep peacefully. I remembered the night my husband died. The house was full of people, yet I had never felt so alone. Silence pressed against my chest heavier than grief itself. At the funeral, they promised me security, respect, care, promises spoken with folded hands and hidden fingers. I remembered selling my jewelry one piece at a time to educate my sons. I told myself gold always comes back as gratitude. I was wrong. I remembered being advised to trust the family when transferring property into joint names. What could go wrong, they said. I believed them. I remembered the first time I noticed doors closing softly when I entered a room, conversations stopping mid-sentence, holidays where my seat moved farther from the center, my voice asked for less, laughter continued without me. I remembered overhearing jokes about my age, my forgetfulness, my uselessness. Bank visits where conversations were replaced by signatures, where my questions were answered with sighs and impatience. I chose peace every time. I told myself patience was protection. Only later did I admit the truth. I had given power away, believing love would guard it. I slept on my neighbor's cot that night. Thin mattress, thinner blanket. Sleep didn't come. The humiliation replayed again and again, like a cruel song stuck on repeat. Days later, I discovered my pension had been redirected. My phone alerts stopped. I tried to speak calmly, asked for an explanation. I was told all communication must go through family counsel, not family, counsel. When I went back to the house to collect my medicines, a security guard stopped me at the gate, a man I had fed during festivals. He wouldn't meet my eyes. My name had been removed from utility bills. Line by line, my existence was being erased. Rumors spread quickly that I was unstable, that I couldn't manage my affairs. A family meeting was held without me. Decisions were made about my care as if I were already gone. One afternoon, I overheard plans to sell ancestral land, land my hands had bled into. That was when my granddaughter blocked my number. One unanswered call was all it took. Anger rose in me then, sharp, unfamiliar. It collided with fear, knocking the air from my lungs. I began writing everything down, dates, words, glances. My memory became evidence. And then I understood their confidence. They believed I was alone. They were wrong. The phone rang late one night. An old friend of my husband's. His voice was steady but urgent. He told me he had seen my name on a notice at the land registry and knew something was wrong. He reminded me of documents I had signed decades ago, protections I had forgotten existed. He told me about a trust deed, one that activated only if I was coerced or displaced. He connected me to a lawyer, a man who spoke slowly, who listened, who treated me like a person. Fear made room for clarity inside me. I opened an old tin box kept under my childhood bed. Inside were wills, receipts, letters, proof of a life lived honestly. I learned the property transfer was conditional, not absolute. When the lawyers said the word invalid, my spine straightened. Their biggest mistake became clear. Humiliating me publicly had created witnesses. I stopped pleading. I started preparing. I chose silence as strategy. I let them believe they had won. Then the notices arrived, my name printed boldly at the top. A court summons interrupted their celebration dinner. Financial accounts froze. Confusion replaced arrogance. I attended the hearing wearing the same sari I had worn when I was thrown out. Evidence unfolded calmly. Videos, signatures, testimonies. The judge asked why I had been filmed without consent. The room shifted. My son didn't look at me as the trust deed was read aloud. Restitution was ordered. Control returned to me. Neighbors whispered new stories. I confronted my family privately, not with shouting, with facts. I told my granddaughter the truth. I refused reconciliation without accountability. I moved back into the house to close chapters, not reopen wounds. Finances were restructured, boundaries drawn, educational funds created with transparency. Part of the property became a community space. Apologies came cautiously. I chose who stayed. I slept better knowing my name was protected by law and self-respect. I regained small joys, morning tea, unlocked doors, my photograph back on the wall. I speak to you now calmly. Betrayal often wears the face of family. Silence has a cost. Courage has power. If this story feels familiar, protect yourself. Share it, comment, subscribe. Quiet strength always outlasts cruelty.